Hi everybody, it's Megan Zeckman with Education Possible, and I'm here tonight. Hi, welcome. I'm here tonight. I'm going to talk about this history curriculum that I just was introduced to. I did a review on it on the blog yesterday. Hi Jimmy. I did a review on it and I wanted to share it with you guys because I really have fallen in love with it for my older student. My 8th grader is doing it right now. So I'm going to switch this around. Hi everybody. So anyway, I'm Megan Zeckman and I am with Education Possible. I blog over there with my partner, Susan Williams. Hi, thank you for the love. And we talk all about homeschooling, middle school, and high school. And so history in our house, we talk a lot about history on the blog. And part of that is because we both love history. Most of our kids love history. I have to be honest, I shared in a previous Periscope that my youngest daughter does not love history. Although my oldest one does love history, and she just can't get enough of it. And so we had the opportunity to look at this history curriculum through Compass Classroom, and it's Dave Raymond's American History, and we are currently in American History. And I have to tell you, I wasn't, at first I wasn't sure about reviewing it because we've been doing history the same way for quite a while, and I really like the way we do history. But my oldest, Abigail, is 13 now, and so she's going into 8th grade, and she needs to be doing a little bit more than what we do as a family. We do history together. So the two girls, 11 and 13, we always do history together. But Abigail's getting to the point where, next year, not this coming year, but next year it's going to be high school. And so she's going to need to be doing more. And she wants more, honestly. She loves history. And so I was really thinking about, all right, how am I going to do this? I can give her more books to read, I can give her more notebooking, but then that's a lot more work for me to do. I already have enough to do. So I was trying to think of something that I could add on to her or just kind of give her. And so I fell in love with this curriculum because she can do it independently. Now, I have to tell you, it is so fascinating and I love the videos so much. It's written in a very different way from other history. It really talks a lot about the famous figures throughout history, and it starts in Meso-America and it goes through Theodore Roosevelt. And so he talks a lot about who these famous people were and what made them so famous. Talks a lot about their character, and it uses primary sources in the reading. And so when we started watching the videos, I watched a few because I wanted to make sure that I really liked them, and then we watched some together. And I actually watch them with her because they're fascinating and I'm learning a ton, because I'll tell you, I was not a history fan when I was in high school. I thought it was very boring and it was just not my thing. Now that I'm older, I understand it more, and I'm not learning through textbooks because I went to public school. That's all I did. I learned through textbooks, and to me that was very boring. So that's why I do history so differently in our homeschool, because I just want them to have this excitement for history. You kind of have to understand what went before because it's cyclical. You can't tell me history isn't repeating itself. So anyway, so I had the opportunity to view this curriculum, and Abigail is now using it on top of the history that we're doing. So it's kind of her thing, and we watch some of the videos together. And so it's broken out into 26 lessons, and within each lesson there are 5 videos that the students can watch. And so it's like 14.1, lesson 14, lesson 14.1, 14.2, 14.3, so on. So the kids, the students watch the video, and then after they watch the video, they have a reading assignment, and you get this all downloaded. So the videos, you can get them streaming, or I downloaded them to my computer so that then Abigail can view them. We can share it within our home network, and so she can watch from any computer. Then we got a PDF of this student reader, and so I printed it all off so she has it in a spiral notebook, and she does this reading. Now the reading depends on how, kind of how your student is. If they're really good readers or if it's a longer reading assignment. You really never know until you're in it or look ahead. Some reading assignments are a lot longer than others. And so the reading assignments, though, are rich literature and they're primary sources. So one of the reading assignments, we just finished the lesson on George Washington because we wanted to start in the second part of the curriculum. You can have part 1 and then part 2. We wanted to start in part 2 because that's where we are in history already. So we had done the Pilgrims and prior, last year. And so I wanted to be able to work forward with her. So we started there. And you're reading the Rules of Civility from George Washington, and they're actually in the Library of Congress. He wrote them in his copybook, and that is in the Library of Congress, and you can look that up online. And so, we looked that up online so she could see his writing and how he hand wrote those out. So these are great resources, not this fluff reading. And I love that. And so after they do that, there's actually a quiz. And it's a 10, each lesson. So again, not the 14.1, 14.2, but like lesson 14, lesson 15. There's a 10 question quiz. Now, again, it's not a multiple choice question. This is not meant to be simple, easy history, okay? This is enough, if you put the hours into the projects and the lessons and the videos and things that I'll talk about, it's worth a credit, high school credit for American history. So it's really meaty. And so they have these quizzes, these exams, and again, they are essay questions. And they really make them think, because it's asking questions about, all right, well, what was George Washington's character? Why did he, things like, why didn't he become a king of America? And how was Mount Vernon built? How did it relate to his family and him being a family man? I love that because I really want Abigail and Mariana to understand what they're answering. I want them to understand their lessons, not just try to get the right answers. So I want to be able to see how they think in their thought process and what they get and what they're grasping, what they're not grasping. And so it's not like, a page for each question, but, a little paragraph for each essay question. So you have that to go along with. And again, talking about the George Washington lesson in the video, it talked about, like what I just said, George Washington, his men loved him. He commanded so much respect just from the kind of man that he was. He didn't force it, and he didn't walk in saying, I deserve this. He just was respected, and people wanted him to be king or, a sovereign leader over America. And he said, no, that's what we fought to get away from, But a lesser man, that could have gone to his head, and he easily could have taken that. Mount Vernon, he talks about, Dave Raymond in the video talks quite a bit about, after he married Martha, and she was older, but he was just this incredible man and he was a godly man. And so he was perfect for her and was able to marry her. She was a widow. And they built this home, and every place had a purpose. So as they were building it, every part of the house had a purpose, and it really related to his family and his friends, because the kids were always around, the grandchildren were always around, friends were always around, and so he always kept that in mind when he was building. And so, it talks really about that. It talks about how he was a visionary. He was really this trailblazer he was trying all these things that people weren't really sure about. They were brand new things for everybody. You kind of look at his farewell address. And so he was very steady. Dave Raymond called him a steady operator, that he was just calm, cool, and collected, that he was very faithful, and he could always be relied on. And that's why he was looked to time and time again to be a leader. And these are things that don't always come up in basic history lessons. And so that is one of the reasons why I do like this curriculum and the videos. So anyway, so you have the videos, you have the reading assignments, and then you have the exams. On top of that, students are required to keep a portfolio. And now, one of my favorite things, I can ask my child to do her best, right? I do that frequently because I'm a mom. But sometimes they don't always listen to us, right? Or it may go in one ear and out the other. However, he really, in the teacher's guide, he talks about it in videos, he talks about it in the student reading. He wants them to do their best work because this portfolio is going to be all year long. So they're writing down, they're doing artwork in it. So every time they watch a lesson, every time they do a lesson, they're doing narrating, they're getting pictures, adding pictures to it. So it's kind of like a scrapbook. But it's to be done on heavyweight paper so that it isn't flimsy, that it will stand the test of time. So they can add any maps, pictures, quotes, anything that they can come across that that relates to American history in that lesson, they can add to this portfolio. And so then they can look back on it, and it's really kind of like a history textbook almost. And so we do a lot of narration in ours. Abigail does a lot of artwork just because she loves art so much. And so she wants to add that in there as well. So we're always looking for new and different things to put in there. You know, I don't want her to be in a rut that I always add this and this and this. So we're always looking for new things that she can add into it. The other thing that they do throughout throughout a long period of time is they're required to do a thesis research paper. They have to state an opinion. They have to back it up with sources. They have to do bibliography. And they have to have multiple sources to go into this research paper. And it takes many weeks to do that. She's thinking about doing it on the Underground Railroad, the Trail of Tears. She's not really sure yet which way she's going to go, but she's starting to think about that because it takes a long time to write this large thesis paper. It's, you know, a few pages long. And so that's quite an endeavor to go along with this history curriculum. And the last thing that they do is they're required to do a very large project. He calls it a 30-hour project. And that means, it's not over a week. It's over a long period of time that they're to spend 30 to 40 hours total working on this project. So some of the projects he suggests are creating an evening gown typical of the late 1800s. Making a working cotton gin, learning how to blacksmith nails, creating a newspaper, writing a novella, writing your own music if you're musically inclined, doing an art project. So again, this is something that the kids are going to take their time, they're going to do their best work, they're going to research, they're going to plan, they're going to set goals. And it's all based on this American history and what they're learning. And so all of that combined, like I said, they can get a credit for American history for high school. And some states with homeschoolers, if they do it in 8th grade, they're allowed to count it as well. So it's something that I really enjoy because I help Abigail and I'm working through it with her, and I'm certainly guiding her with these projects. But it's not something that I have to involve Mariana in. It's something that Abigail can do a little, somewhat independently, and it can be done outside of our family, group homeschool time. So it's something that won't take a whole lot of extra time, and Mariana's sitting there getting bored because she's moving on. So we're to the point now where we're needing to separate a little bit of. Abigail needs to do more things than Mariana because she's in 8th grade now. And so this really fit the bill for me. And so I would encourage you, I have it up on the blog. I just wrote about it, educationpossible.com. We have a lot of history resources, but this is one of the few curriculums that we have on there because I haven't used a lot of curriculum until now. It is a faith-based curriculum. It goes from Meso-America to Theodore Roosevelt, and it's done in 2 different semesters if you want to use it for a whole year. Or you could do one and then the other and use it for a half credit if you're working on credit for your child. One of the best things right now, it's actually on sale. They're having their sale. Compass Classroom is having their sale right now, back to school sale. And so I think it's almost half off, if not half off. And it's very reasonable because you get all the things that I outlined, and it's all spelled out. The teacher's guide is so helpful. Everything you need is there. It shows you how to set it up during the week to go through each of the lessons. It shows you how to grade the essays, how to grade the thesis paper, what you should look for in the project to give it the appropriate grade. And I appreciated that because these are things that we really haven't done yet, but I know we're going to be moving into with high school. And so it's good to get that expertise from them. And honestly, Dave Raymond is so energetic. You could tell he has such a passion for this subject. He has a passion for these figures, these historical figures who were men and women that were faithful but had flaws, but had these amazing qualities as well. And he's been teaching for forever, and that really comes across. It's meaty information, but it was very easy to understand. When we finished one of the first videos that we looked at a while ago, Abigail said, that was really interesting. I learned a lot that I just didn't know before. And I'll tell you, she knows a lot about history. And what I really like too, we're not big on, all right, you need to know this date, you need to know this fact. She really understands a lot of the overarching, the individual things that happen in history. So like if you were to talk to her about the Great Depression, for example, she could tell you all kinds of things about it, but she may not be able to pull out exact dates or specific timelines. She's getting better with that. But this history curriculum doesn't, it definitely gives you all the dates and it gives you all the information, but it's really interested in the stories behind the history. What made these people great? What made this time period what it was? Why do we remember it? Why are we remembering it as part of history? So again, it's American History by Dave Raymond, and it's through Compass Classroom. I have it up on the blog, educationpossible.com. You can read about it there, and you can click through. You can try a couple lessons for free. That's awesome. So you can see whether it's something that you might like, whether your student might like it. It is recommended for 13 and older, basically 8th grade and up, because it does have a lot of material to go along with it, and younger students, unless they really are just advanced in history, they might just get bogged down in it. And certainly the projects on the thesis paper is going to take a lot of big investment of time for the kids. So again, I'm Megan Zeckman. I'm with Education Possible, and thank you for joining me. And I hope you go over and give it a try, give the curriculum a try, try out a couple of those lessons, see what you think. And then come and tell me about it. We have a Facebook page. We have a Facebook group with moms from middle school and high school, or on the blog. I'd love to hear more about what you liked about it. Take care. Have a good night. I'll be back tomorrow at 1:30, and we're talking about everything we've been creating.